very good morning to you. My name is Shankari and welcome to Mindfulness with Shankari. So, in today's video, I would like to talk to you a little bit about experiences during meditation. So, whether you are early or whether you are new to meditation or new to the practice of meditation, or whether you are in an advanced level or an advanced stage, you will always have experiences during meditation, and your experiences can range from the physical, sort of more physical experiences to more emotional and mental experiences. So, we can have basically on a broad spectrum two types of experiences. We can have positive experiences and we can have more negative, more difficult or dissonant experiences. So why do we experience things, or why do we have experiences during meditation? So meditation is the process of self-awareness. It is looking at yourself, almost like putting a mirror up to yourself and looking at the different aspects of you that are expressing itself at any given time. So when you sit down to meditate, when you sit down into a practice, or when you let yourself settle into that practice, what you're beginning to do is uncovering those layers of yourself, layers of consciousness, let's say, of yourself. So we call as multidimensional beings, or we are multi-layered beings because we are made up of different layers of consciousness. We are made up of our physical self, and we have lots of things going on physically with us, from all our everyday functions, from the nervous system to physical movement and physical motion, to the different things that happen biologically with us, even up to the level of our DNA. So the next stage and the next layer of consciousness that make up our being is our emotional layer. This layer is where we process our emotions, where we receive and transmit and express emotions. And this layer, this emotional layer, is the interpreter basically of our thoughts, of what is going on internally or mentally within us. And our mental layer is the third layer that forms a part of our consciousness, or the secondary layer of the psyche. And in this part, in the mental part, we do a lot of cognitive processes go on. We It's almost the mind, right? So whatever the mind does goes on in this mental layer. And the mental layer is basically made out of two parts, the conscious part and the subconscious part. So when we are going through meditation, or when we are meditating, we go through these layers almost consecutively, or one by one, or we meet different components within each layer simultaneously. So there are few, because we are layered, because our being is layered. When we are experiencing something during meditation, we are basically experiencing either a particular aspect of these layers, or we are experiencing components or elements from each layer simultaneously. And so the fourth aspect of experience that we may have is a situational experience. This refers to flashbacks or memories that we may experience again during meditation. So usually we do that. We have these situational experiences in real life, or in day-to-day life, when we are triggered by something that happens in our external environment. But when you're meditating, you may also have a trigger that goes on internally. And because you are in the process of self awareness, or because you're in the process of introspection, all of these things happen almost organically within us. So it's almost when you're taking a mirror and looking at yourself, you begin to notice subtle things that you don't normally notice about yourself when you're rushing off to do something or when you're not paying attention. But when you're just sitting down, when you're just looking at yourself without any judgment, and just, suddenly you have this mirror in front of you and you have nothing else to do but look at yourself, then you begin to notice the subtle things that form your being, the subtle things that are organically happening or naturally happening within you. So we move through experiences differently from person to person. So someone may experience more difficult experiences sort of in the beginning portions of your practice, and while another person might have more uplifting, more peaceful or happy experiences. So it's really dependent on the person. It's really dependent on where they are in their lives, what kind of situation or what kind of circumstances they may be in. So it's very, very organic to the type of person or the lifestyle or life choices of that person at a particular given time. So let's go through some of the physical experiences that you may have during meditation. So physically, there are a whole range of things that can happen, both short term and long term. So by long term, I mean for a day or for 2 days or even for a week. Short term, I mean during the particular practice itself. So if you're having a physical experience, you might feel certain sensations or physical sensations. You might feel cold, you might feel warm, you might feel heat in different parts of your body, or you might feel sort of subtle vibrations physically within you, or you might feel or experience headaches. Sometimes if it is a stomach ache you can experience, you will start to yawn. It just depends. It's very natural, and all of these experiences are very normal. It is all to do about it has a lot to do with releasing. When you start to look at yourself, when you start to experience yourself, you start to almost meet yourself. When you meet yourself, there's always this release that happens. It's just like if if you're going to meet a long lost friend, say, the first thing you would do is sigh, or express this joy, this happiness, right? It is much that way. When you express this joy, there's almost an outburst of emotion that comes through. You experience it almost physically. There's this natural push and instinct to go and hug your friend. There's this natural sort of desire to hold your friend, or to almost ask your friend, and it's almost have this connection. And that's the same exact thing that happens when we meet ourselves. When we put up a mirror, it's almost, hello long lost friend. So so when we're doing these things, we have physical experiences for this meeting or this connection. And long term experiences that can carry out for a day or two on a physical level is difference in how you are breathing. Sort of, you tend to notice that you breathe deeper, longer, or you tend to notice that you get very hungry during the day all of a sudden. So I have had lots of different types of experiences that almost carried for a day or two when I have done when I engage in sort of more advanced meditative practices. I have been very hungry. I have been I've had headaches. I have had almost feeling warm or feeling cold throughout the day. All of these are physical sensations that you will have off and on, and it may last for a few minutes, it may last for a day, but most of them are quite normal. They're very, very normal to have these experiences. Like I said, because it is a point of relief, it is a point of release as well. So that's for the physical level. And for let's go to the mental, emotional. Let's go to the emotional level first before we move on to the mental level. So emotional experiences. So when you sit down to meditation, when you sit down, you will definitely, definitely experience emotions. If you are not used to experiencing emotions, or if you're the type of person who always puts emotions on the back burner or refuse to look at them. I know some of us are like that. I myself am not. I'm very sensitive to emotions, so I feel them instantly. But if you're new to feeling your emotions, then all you have to know is that you are safe. You are safe to experience this emotion right now. Nothing is ever going to happen to you because this is a clean space. This is a clear space. It is just you meeting yourself in this moment. So we can have any number of emotional experiences. Again, it can be short term, it can last for a few seconds, or we can carry on for the rest of the day or the next 2 days. If they are positive emotions, brilliant, great, use that energy to carry on or put towards whatever projects you're doing that day. So um, if you're doing the meditation and you're experiencing this joy or this bliss, or you're experiencing new inspiration almost being birthed from you, then take that inspiration, let it flood and flow through your being. And then as you go on throughout the day, bring that into your day. Move those experience, move that emotional push or emotional um, reserve that you have, let's say, and move it into your relationships that day, whoever you're speaking to that day, move it into things and projects you're doing that day. Um, so again, use what you have because you have generated that for yourself. And what if you're going through and you're having a negative experience, or difficult ones, something that's not comfortable at all to feel, much less have for a bit of time. So if you feel a trigger, so these are emotions that sort of, they spark and then they go off, they don't last very long, then once again, the main thing is not to fear them. The main thing is to simply watch them and experience them. I know a lot of us, we are afraid of difficult emotions. And I know for a lot of us, we are very brave and courageous to meet those emotions. So it just, whichever spectrum you fall under, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is remind yourself that you are safe in this space, that it is safe to look at this aspect of you that is feeling this emotion, right? This difficult or painful emotion. And just meet that emotion. Almost be with that emotion unconditionally. You might imagine that emotion in front of you, almost describing it, almost recognizing it as an aspect of you, as an expression of you, not you yourself. And so when you do that, then you begin to see that emotions naturally evolve, and they don't remain the same way if you've taken the time to look at them, if you've taken the time to acknowledge and understand them. They have no reason to stay. So they will evolve into different forms or into higher forms, most likely. So if you're experiencing something like powerlessness or hopelessness, then they will evolve into something like more positive emotion, like anger, or a drive to move forward, a drive to create resolution. So and then that will then evolve into something even more positive. It will evolve into a more physical action that you take to resolve or do something. So use emotions or meet emotions as they are. I've also done a video about this on how to process your emotions, especially the ones that come up during meditation. So you can take a look at that and see if that helps you, or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or write them down in the comments. So the next thing is processing thoughts, or looking at the mind, really. So when we do all these things, when we start to have these experiences, we will see our mind for what it is. We will see different patterns that we have had over the accumulated over the years. We will see how we sort of perceive different things. This is again a filter of the mind. When we meet our experiences, we may also have a filter over them. And most of the time, we want to recognize this filter for what it is. So, for such things, it may take time to know what this filter is.